podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
Some of my fellow podcast wrestling brethren, they're not very thankful this year.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Rick Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
This is episode 891. 891 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. And happy Thanksgiving in advance here from yours for the King of Podcasts to all of you out there listening in. Wherever you're finding the show, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, all major podcast platforms. And of course, it all begins at kingofpodcasts.com. So to be honest with you, I keep trying to watch wrestling, and it's becoming much more of a task. And listen, I know we had people that follow me on TikTok or whatever, and they give me, their comments about what they feel about what my thoughts are about the product and what I say regularly about the product right now. And just this whole deal of, that I'm, upset over nothing and just enjoy the product, they're king and all this kind of stuff, right? I know everybody's getting all caught up in that. But I'm telling you, it's very difficult just to continue just to go and see people go on and make their point and get all pushed along. I'm like, it's crap. It just is. It gets tired of it too, man. And I'm talking about some of the comments that I got on the Full Gear post show that I did this past Saturday night. And look, everybody was like all going after me. It's like, just, enjoy it, whatever. Like, just go along with it, man. It's like, really, I don't want to deal with that. I don't like it at all. It's upsetting. And it's like, I don't know, man. I can't help but continue to see what my fellow podcast wrestling brethren are putting up on X and they're doing on their podcasts on a regular basis. And it really does nag me when I see that. And I also think about the fact that it's people that I've also followed and watched a lot of, but it's constantly the same kind of bullshit we have, man. And I try and I bookmark all these people here and I look at what they're saying right now. They're trying to say on Fightful.com is making the announcement that CM Punk has been a model citizen backstage in WWE in its 1 year since Survivor Series. And everybody's all praising the fact that CM Punk is back and, we're going to complete the storyline after 1 year ago with Roman Reigns and all this. Like, okay, got it. I know. Took a long time to get there. Did they necessarily have it planned like this? I don't think so. I don't know if they really said, we're going to go and go this route. Because remember, the last thing we saw of anything going on with CM Punk was, challenging Gunther. That's it. Otherwise, now he comes back here and it's, good time, a good use of him in the storyline because they have set up things in the storyline where he's a Paul Heyman guy. And, it was just kind of like in passing, but okay, he did do that. That's good. Fine. Will he turn heel here coming up? Probably, we don't know what's going to happen, but it is a wrinkle we don't know yet. Let's go and be entertained by it, see what happens, and see what they do. And the one thing I got to make mention of that's really got everything kind of going on with everyone is this, okay? So there's two comments being made today, and everybody's all getting upset about it. So let me put it like this. I'm going to take two comments that are being made here and go with it. So one commenter, I'm not going to use names, but I'm sure if you hear me read the words, I'll just take it. So this is almost a 1 day ago about this. So one of the people that has been already called out many times for his comments towards wrestlers and towards other people, he is upset because of GCW shows. They're no longer going to be booking Ricky Starks at those shows. He's been pulled for several events per Tony Khan, who, for the fact that Ricky Starks is still under AEW contract, even though we haven't seen him on AEW television since March, I think it is. And if we saw him anywhere, he was on, I want to say he was over on Ring of Honor. I'm not sure. I don't see Sammy Guevara was there. But yeah, Ricky Starks taking a step back, there's a lot of talk about the fact that it might be because of his allegiance with CM Punk while he was in AEW. That's been an issue for the reason why Ricky Starks has not been working. That's one of the issues and one of the points of contention. So let me take some of the points here from X that were being brought up. And again, I will not use names. But if you hear me reading this person's words, you obviously know who it is. So let him go ahead and make his point here. And then so this is a fellow podcast wrestling brethren. I don't have any allegiance to him. I just know he's the most vocal of the vocal minority here. And this booking and this back and forth with other podcasters, with dirt sheets, with wrestlers, like this is just not good. It's toxic behavior. It's tribalism at its worst. And for whatever reason, we're getting to it more and more right now. And let's just be honest with ourselves. We're not doing really good right now in wrestling. I've already said this before. AEW's product has been flat. I said that at Full Gear, some of the storylines they're putting out right now are flat. It's not working. But I think they're both AEW and WWE right now in an off season. And the reason I say that is this. Most importantly, and this is what I've been thinking ever since I started this show, WWE needs to be, and it's always the priority, for all other wrestling around the world. When WWE, which is the most widely noticed, most recognized name in sports entertainment, they don't want to call it that anything. We don't want to say it's wrestling, but still, WWE is synonymous with wrestling, sports entertainment. That's it. Everybody knows that name. That is the major league. That is the one. AEW, okay, no matter how enjoyable it has been to see them grow at such a certain amount of time. Listen, now they're at a plateau. There needs to be something they need to do to go and kickstart themselves into another gear. They've been living off of 4 good years of pretty good programming, okay? They were doing really well. That whole riff with CM Punk, I think that really affected the locker room a lot. But then there's another thing about when you bring somebody into that house like CM Punk, and the cancer is there's like a tumorous cancer in there. It's still lingering. Just because you got him out of there, there are still some things that were left over from that whole incident of him being there and the incidents that were caused as of it. Plus, some of the other people that, after a while, you got them under contract, and if they're not getting necessarily used, then some of these people are getting a bit disgruntled. And now it's becoming apparent, and it's like you can't keep that kind of stuff from coming out. But then there's also the part of some people that got upset. Okay, a couple months ago, this particular member of the wrestling podcast community was so triggered that now it is his personal vendetta to attack Tony Khan and anything AEW, while still trying to pretend the guys that he's still trying to be unbiased. Well, like when he's negative, it's like supremely negative. To the point it's personal. To the point that he's personally offended and hurt emotionally by what's being said. It's almost a not even a masculine kind of reaction. It's a feminine reaction. It's, it's toxic. That's what it is. It's like narcissistic, manipulative, controlling. I'm like, what are we getting this right here? Why do we need this in the wrestling business? Obviously, there's wrestlers that act like that. There's people that are also like that. They all got this kind of like, mention of id, right? You're like, above Sigmund Freud kind of level of smart, right? But some people really believe their shit doesn't stink. They really believe they're that smart. The wrestling community, come on. This is the lowest common denominator, talking about the lowest hanging fruit. This is what they complain about. And this Tuesday morning quarterbacking, this fantasy booking that they get to do, the bottom line is all these companies right now that are not controlling the narrative of saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and book the shows the way we want, and you'll like it or you won't. But at least they're the ones making the decisions. The decisions should not be relied upon, the feedback of the audience. They shouldn't matter. They should be along for the ride, right? I don't know. I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, right? NFL. I'm not the one that's going to go and say, oh, we need to have certain players that need to be on the roster, or else I'm going to be pissed. Okay. We had Jameis Winston come to the door. We had, Josh Freeman, quarterbacks that sucked. All right. Tom Brady. I was not somebody that was all clamoring to get him in here. Okay. But Tom, thank you for the ring. Thank you for the Super Bowl ring. I appreciate it. But you know what? The bottom line is that you think that you are, wait for it, smart wrestling fans. You really think you are. You think that what you're saying from your echo chamber to your fans, that if you're booking the show, you'd be making millions of dollars for this company. You would be making the shareholders happy. No, you wouldn't. And, some of these of my fellow podcast wrestling brethren, sure, they might have been referees, they might have worked commentary, they might have worked in wrestling companies, some promotions in some way, shape, or form. Not diminishing their work, not diminishing their efforts. But because they've done that, they're not the business owners. They don't own the purse strings. They don't hold the pen. I don't envy Triple H. I don't envy Tony Khan for what they have to do right now. Now, granted, they have great rosters of talent. No question about that. But they can do better, both of them. Now, it's one thing to go and just say that as a common line because it is like that. But it's another one where it's like, you're not upset just because you don't like the booking, you don't like the way people are being used. You don't like it because it's not your input. It's because there's people that you have a vested interest in because they came from another organization that you like them in. And now they're in AEW, you feel like they're being underused. It's like projecting the same thing I would say about somebody that was in another promotion and they're going to WWE, right? Same idea. But I'm not going to get hurt by it. If I feel like somebody's going to get, they're going to get watered down, they're going to have to go WWE style, have 5 moves or whatever, what they're going to do. They're not going to get the kind of work they have for the work rate. It's going to be different. They might have their name changed, all those kind of things. I don't necessarily like that. Put it to you like this. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Give me them as El Generico and Kevin Steen. I'll take them as that before anything else. When you had Lita in WWE right there with the Hardys, give me her as Miss Congeniality in ECW. Right? Dudley Boys, give me them in ECW. That's how it is. Raven, give me him in ECW. Right? There's the thing here. Give me Ric Flair, give me him in WCW. Sting in WCW. Right? Booker T in WCW. Because there's just something about where I have allegiance to wherever. And when I feel like something, again, which is where in my heart of hearts, when I watched The Invasion, when there was a couple of years that WCW folded and ACW folded and all we had was WWE, okay, well, they were still doing okay. But I didn't want to watch WWE diminish the stars I saw there. Eddie Guerrero. People praise what Eddie Guerrero does in WWE. Give me what he did in ECW and WCW. Give me that. Ricochet. Give me what he did in Lucha Underground. Give me what he did in New Japan. That's what it is. There's something to be said about if somebody goes into one of these bigger companies, they're going to get diminished. But for some reason, the WWE is immune. These fans right now, they feel like WWE is immune from any criticism at all. They're the only ones allowed to criticize. And there's been such a rift between fans that are loyal to AEW to a fault and with WWE loyalists to a fault that they can't help themselves. So take this comment from X and tell me it's not of bitter personal vitriol, a personal vendetta. Because this red, you can hear, is pusillanimous with anger. It's just, there's a frustration here, but it's also a personal jab because it's coming from this person personally. It's not professional. It's a personal jab. And some of these influencers and some of these podcasters out there, they're going to put their emotions in front of them, right? If they're angry, they're going to use that. It's not even part of a gimmick anymore. You can kind of tell it's much more than that. is a trigger. I would say almost getting to derangement. It's getting there. Not there yet, but it's getting there. But really people get all up to that. Okay, so here's two sides of the coin. Someone trying to go ahead and make comments on what AEW did right now. The fact that GCW, they are not going to allow Ricky Starks to work a couple of shows in December. Got it. Okay, here's the comment here. Quote, it's amazing how many comments are in this thread that read, quote, Tony Khan is becoming Vince McMahon. What have I been saying? Yet, when I say it, I am the bad guy regardless. And it's always back to the personal attack. It's always back to the personal, like the victimization. I don't give a shit about victimization. And, you know, the fact that there are some people that are my fellow podcast wrestling brethren that have done some things that have crossed the line with wrestlers, with other people, and they've had to apologize for it. No, in the radio business, I'm sorry, Tom Likas was right. You don't apologize for anything. You don't do anything behind this microphone or in front of a camera or whatever live setting that you have, or social media for that matter. I learned that when social media came around. You don't apologize for anything because you don't give anybody a reason to apologize. That's why cancel culture is so effective, because when you make mistakes, then you have to fess up for them, and then people could just take you down. What good is that? Anyway, back to the story here. Instead of taking accountability for what they did and said someone who works for GCW, Effie in parentheses, made shit personal when they talked about Tony Khan's father in a negative way. Think what you want of Tony and his business practices, but bringing family up for a reason, such as them running Hammerstein Ballroom, is fucking pathetic. He rightfully pulled Ricky Starks from all their shows after those comments, and I don't blame him. In typical GCW faction, I expected to play up the us versus them bullshit even more now. Now it's just you. Worry about selling out Hammerstein and making good on the disaster that was your first show there without resorting to handing out comp tickets outside a Tony Khan run show in New Jersey. Wow. And that's the part where like people get upset and, you know, trying to go and act like there's no bias to it. So this was obviously a jab at GCW. And to Effie himself, one of the top stars there, and of course Brett Lauderdale and the whole team over there. So GCW, you know, can't expect them not to go and like kind of piggyback off of other shows. Listen, just because Full Gear was running in Newark, New Jersey this weekend, and GCW runs a show over there at Hammerstein, not too far away, it's just like WrestleMania. Other wrestling companies pillaging over the popularity of other shows. Yeah, no shit. Not surprised there. But yeah, okay, so Ricky Stark's not going to go work. Well, I mean, you should expect something like that if you got that person under contract. If there is something that happens there, it's something that can go on. Now, after this, there was a report that came from a particular site, right? But then there's also more being talked about from another person that's trying to also kind of play in the middle here. Quote, every year, AEW is becoming more like WWE, or at least Vince WWE, right? From adding too much product, going to quarterly pay-per-views to monthly, and not having long-term booking, hot-shotting angles, see Ospreay versus Ricochet, making it worse for talent because you can. Tony's a good dude, but his Vince side shows more and more each year. Okay. So let's take both of those arguments right there. I mean, the whole idea is, okay, in the context of these two arguments right here, they're not necessarily going off on attacks. But if you go back on their past comments, they obviously have gone pretty attacking on. I'll read some of those a little bit. But the thing is that Tony Khan's pressure, because of the fact that obviously Warner Bros. Discovery does have a vested interest in this. And for them to go and run more pay-per-views, yeah, that was a mistake. Running what, like 8 to 10 right now? And plus Ring of Honor? Yeah, it's a lot. It's too much. If it could have stayed around 6 or 7, that would have been much better. But I think that's the one part where I think it's inevitable. I mean, with the amount of talent that you have and the amount of opportunity you're going to have to go ahead and be able to put shows up there. Look, when it's going to max, I won't be surprised if they go back to monthly. If they go to monthly after all, it will be too much. The TV shows right now, the fact that they're trying to do Collision, they can't book big arenas for that. Collision can't run in big arenas. They need to go and do what Eric Bischoff used to do and, run that thing like an Impact or run that thing like a WCW Saturday Night Like, go find yourself someplace to go and run the shows. Like, it's the part where, if you have the show taped before, here's the thing too. If you have Collision taped before Dynamite, maybe that'll work better. And I think that's what they should be doing. It's going to be a lot to say, but like right now, listen, Rampage is going away. Like, make Collision and Dynamite like run together. Like, seriously, do that. And then just figure out something else to go with it. Because, like, honestly, like, Collision, you book that and put it up in front of Dynamite. Like, they don't have Dark anymore. They don't have Dark Elevation. And Dark Elevation did fine on YouTube because, you didn't have crowds, but they were also before the shows. So, cut down on the bookings on the shows as well. Like, for you to go ahead and have to go and conflict a couple times a year also because of the fact that you got to book these other shows, then don't do it. If you want to have a house show that's not a Collision, then do that. But like, don't do the TV shows like this and do twice a week. It's not working. They don't have the capacity to do that, and they don't have the track record that WWE has to do that. It just can't be done. So CM Punk's comments were made about important because of the fact that it's the 1 year that he came back to Survivor Series. So Gorilla Position puts out a story, and they say the big moment in the arena where CM Punk is welcomed home to WWE at last year's Survivor Series. And the point's made that Survivor Series was so significant, a new company, an older Punk, huge business, just brilliant. And another one of my fellow podcast wrestling brethren says, well, long from now, when everyone reading this is dead and gone, people will look at what this guy in AEW did and how their viewership and audience dissipated, and people will wonder how they ever let this guy leave when they could have worked it out and made it right. So we're going to just believe that CM Punk was completely taking care of this. Listen, regardless of what people go and think, it was multiple times he got penalized for this. Okay, remember, he got suspended several times. He's not playing well with others. And look, CM Punk is doing this right now because for whatever reason, I guess he wants to finish with WWE, but also the fact that, if he gets cut from here, wrestling's done. If he doesn't play nice here, wrestling is done for him. But they're paying him well, lavishly. And obviously it looks like he's getting to do what he wants out there. There's no control over this. It's not like we're Vince McMahon's out there anymore. And it's not like what he's going through before where he's getting hurt and he's, when he gets time off, he's getting a lot of time off. He's like, he hasn't worked that much. Remember, he took a good 4 months off because he got hurt in the Royal Rumble right off the bat. He's fragile. That's the other part we got to remember too. When you got somebody that's that fragile and is becoming an issue backstage and you have video proof, come on. That kind of stuff, it doesn't work. And then some of the people we have over here, they have to go and just be so, you have to feel like, okay, they're trying so much to like make certain storylines matter so much. The New Day about the split up. This has been going on for months. And so Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, another backstage confrontation. Quote, do you know why you have never been a world champion like me and like E? It's because you haven't been good enough. And Kofi Kingston putting it back at Xavier Woods. And Xavier Woods been continuously pushing back. And now the 10th anniversary for them is going to be coming up. They're going to celebrate that. Obviously, there'll be a fallout from there. And then one of the commenters out there says that these two really committed to their angle, pays off tremendously. We don't see this enough in the industry anymore. Regardless of what company you watch, this type of segment should be a big reason why you watch in the first place. But not if we're getting this conversation, we're getting this going on, and it's taking forever to get here. We don't need this. And it's like, I'm telling you, too much. You can go ahead and say, okay, we got. It's nice they can get to this point. We could have gotten this at any point. The New Day dissipating or whatever they're going to do now, it took this long. It's a TV angle. It's not even worth drawing an arena for a pay-per-view, okay? New Day has not been on pay-per-view. And by the way, who's the audience that's watching it right now? Maybe some people on social media, but 1.5 million, maybe a little bit less on television, live? That's not good enough. I'm sorry. New Day's not drawing Raw on Netflix. It's not. It's not. We already know what the Netflix already made their directives. They want John Cena, they want Cody Rhodes, they want Roman Reigns at the first night of Netflix, January 6th. That's what they want. That's who matters to them. It's like Fox, give us Ronda Rousey. It's not Candice LeRae. It's not Judgment Day. It might be Rhea Ripley and it might be Dominic Mysterio, but that's it. Oh, and that's the other thing everybody else got upset about. Because ESPN put out some top 30 wrestlers list. That's another one that came around. Okay. And then somebody comes around and almost sounds, and it got pretty negative about WWE in a certain way. And then we had somebody that was from one of these wrestling dirt sheets that wanted to make some comments here. And they were commenting about Raw on Monday night. And here's what we got. So in the comments that were being made on the Raw results, Gunther made it look like a coward and a loser. Shenanigans and more shenanigans, the most obvious result to a match in wrestling history. The War Raiders lost their title shot in only the second title defense in the Judgment Day's 150-day reign. Yeah, JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Yeah, they haven't defended the titles much. That's pretty clear. New Day getting squashed by Alpha Academy, and then a soap opera argument backstage. Final Testament trying to do some bullcrap with the Wyatts. Nia Jax probably going to beat Bianca Belair. And Dominic Mysterio, the best wrestler in the world under 30. Everything sucks, they say. And then they also say everything somehow, including the C2 this year. Let's talk about it. Now, then there's a comment from somebody that I also follow here that says that they also talk about the fact that the personal animus about this particular commentary from this particular writer is to make the point that this person is actually paid and comped to attend AEW press conferences, but then the podcaster that's been very vocal is not allowed near anywhere of the backstage talent. And this is how you know it's all one big joke and none of these people are serious about it. Got it. And then the comments about CM Punk and his return, also from these folks here on X. They're also talking about the fact that, okay, CM Punk's return to WWE, he's just had one major feud with Drew McIntyre, now about to enter the War Games alongside Roman Reigns. WWE is really going all in on his return 1 year later. Okay. And then someone making comments about AEW Grand Slam Australia having to move to a smaller venue, it looks like. And they're saying supposedly it's the fact that they're not able to go ahead and sell the tickets. Okay. They're struggling to go and sell tickets. Meanwhile, they are selling tickets for some of their shows. They're not might be selling as many as they used to. For the fact that Chicago, their show this tonight that was going on for Thanksgiving Eve, it was a little under 5,000 people in the Wintrust Arena, compared to being a little bit more than at previous times. But yeah, they're running these cities way too much. Let's make that sure too. Chicago gets run way too much. And there's the comments on here. Okay, people are legit mental. And this person also says, we have done our job to the very best of our ability and have treated every single talent that walks through the doors with the utmost respect on and off the air. The cult has reached new levels of low this week. Personal animosity. And this is the kind of stuff, the tribalism we get. It's like everybody kind of going through this. And, you know, it's not even just the commentary, but it's just the fact that of such a animosity, such a anger going on with all this too. And it's really like, wow, man, people are just really at it and just upset. And for what good does it do? That's what it is. Now, what's also interesting also this week is that it was 5 years ago that really the real changes that we were going to see eventually in WWE, which is really the animus of like why Triple H is doing what he does. Triple H's vision really came 5 years ago at the 2019 Survivor Series. The NXT brand evolved due to unforeseen circumstances weeks prior, which led them to invading SmackDown. So when they put NXT out there, and again, the talent roster they had over there, that was Undisputed Era. You had Ciampa, you had Matt Riddle, you had Adam Cole, Shayna Baszler, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, all part of that NXT group that was also embedded into the Survivor Series. to put them out there, right? And because of this attack, they thought, well, this really works so well. I don't know, because Survivor Series just had a little extra twist to it that year. That's all it was. But people feel like this is one of the most entertaining Survivor Series in history. I don't know if that's really that. Survivor Series doesn't really give me that kind of like buzz in the first place. I mean, we're going to have it this weekend. We'll see how it works out, but I don't really get much from it. I don't know. But we look and see what people are going to talk about it. It's like, whatever, you know? I just really wish this kind of stuff would stop, because it really does make it difficult to be a fan and to watch this product on a regular basis. I just can't stand it. I hate it. And it makes it hard for people to go in and watch. It's like, by doing this here, I feel like wrestling fans see the toxicity right now. And its fellow podcast wrestling brethren, dirt sheets, and people like this, they're making this business, this industry that we love, because of this tribalism, you are turning other viewers and fans away. Tell me, when people see this kind of stuff going on social media, or these podcasts talking about this, they know that these fans are going to these arenas. Do you think that these fans want to go and get caught up in that bullshit right there? The toxicity that comes from those people? Do you think those fans right there, listening to those podcasts, reading those dirt sheets, do you think that they are a welcoming breed of people right there, that echo chamber? Do you think you're going to be welcomed with open arms? I mean, damn, if you got an AEW shirt or something like that, or you're wearing somebody else's product, and you're coming into an arena that is WWE right there with those fans, say if it's New York, say if it's Chicago, say if it's, whatever. And you got these fans that might be holding up signs for these other podcasters. And damn, could you expect a fight or something like that? Some talk back to them? I mean, I think you're honestly trying to go ahead and ostracize casual wrestling fans. The fans, the mainstream wrestling fans that Monday Night Raw on Netflix is going to want. And God forbid, if some of these fans that are watching on Netflix, if they get some new people adopting to watch on the Netflix brand here, okay, and then they want to start commenting on social media, what's going to happen when these other people, this toxic fandom here, decides to go and start bashing back at these fans that might not know as much and might not have as much a strong opinion as them? You're making it worse. Do you understand that? I like to think at least my program is a haven for all fans to come in here and listen to, okay? Come on, man. One of my hosts was a casual wrestling fan. And you think this is a good idea to continue to go ahead and fester this kind of hatred, this kind of angst and animosity and vitriol towards Tony Khan or Triple H? Like, listen, I make commentary and I criticize, but I am not shutting down somebody else's interest in the programming. I just think they're wrong. And that's okay to be like that. Listen, I don't understand it. I don't understand what people see that's so good about what we have right now in the product. I'm seeing bad on both. Okay? I do. It's not good right now. Now, we're going to do the Survivor Series post show this weekend. We'll do a post show right here, kingofpodcasts.com. But then after this, we're going to go into the best of wrestling. We're going to go to the best of the year, and we're going to comment about everything that's coming up leading to this, okay? But I never really thought I would have to come to say this, but I think this kind of friction, this kind of pushback right now from the fans and from the podcasters out there, I don't care how big a fan base you have, you are pushing other wrestling fans away because they don't want to be in this amateur night bullshit. They don't want to be caught up in this, recess playground type environment. Wrestling fans can just be good. They can grow up a little bit, grow a set, mature. Okay. Don't get your feelings up in a wad. All right. Don't throw your toys out of the pram, out of the crib. You can let people agree to disagree. This is not politics. And by the way, some of you wrestling people that decide to go put politics out in front of everybody, also stupid. Do better. All of you. Oh, block each other, this and that. the wrestling fandom here and the people that support that wrestling fandom, it's so damn toxic right now. It's time to tone it down. Tamp that shit down. What are you trying to prove? We don't care. You're talking about trying to be smart at wrestling. This is a hobby. Is it not like a lifetime? For some of you, you might be making this as a career. Okay, fine. But come on. People have a life out there. And they're not going to waste their time listening to your bullshit, bullying, complaining, and going after everybody else. Stop it, man. Stop it. Just pisses me off. It just really does. I'm not going to go longer on this. When I get these kind of shows, I can't just go this long. I'm not going to just keep ranting this, but I think I just hit my point right there. I wanted to get my last point in there, and I did it. Done. All right. Let's go ahead and give you what the final predictions on all and what we're going to have set up for Survivor Series this weekend. They did an extra match. We're going to have an IC title match, a 3-way set up for this Saturday night. Great. And so here we go. Vancouver this Saturday. War Games, you got OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. And then the Bloodline, the Bastard Bloodline is Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. And by the way, we know that Paul Heyman came back. We saw all that. OG Bloodline is going to lose because CM Punk is going to cause shit. Last minute replacement, fifth person, I can see it happening. And Paul Heyman wearing red, yes, they're putting all the little indicators out there. CM Punk is not going to play nice with these guys in storyline. CM Punk's going to mess with Roman Reigns. They're going to set something up going on in the future. War Games, you got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Naomi, and I guess Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae. I will take the heels in that win. That's where I see that going. And something where Bianca Belair is also caught up in this, because we also know that Jade Cargill got hurt. Didn't really give any more indication as to who did it, but they all feel like Bianca Belair is going to turn heel. I think that's a mistake. But, I mean, they're going to do it anyway. I don't like it. I don't think Candice LeRae should have been part of this thing. I think Jade Cargill should have been in this match. But they decided to go and set up the storyline. You know, well, I mean, you know, there's, when you look at the stars they have over here on the War Games side for the women, personally, I think we could have taken Io Sky out. I mean, nothing against her. I just don't think he fits right here for this particular storyline for this. And then Bayley and Io Sky on the same team together after the whole damage control thing. Is that going to work? That's going to be friction right there, too. And for whatever reason, Rhea Ripley's been getting the best of, always getting screwed over by Liv Morgan because it always happens the whole time. Gunther and Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight title. I think Gunther wins. Even though they've been kind of screwing with Gunther already in storyline and how they've been handling him in the ring. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser in a triple threat against Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. And Braun Breaker will win it. Maybe Ludwig Kaiser, but I'm guessing Braun Breaker will retain. And the United States title, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I didn't need to add that match, but LA Knight's going to probably take that easily. And that's it. That's your Survivor Series coming up this weekend. So enjoy that. And we will do a post show about that right here. kingofpodcasts.com, and we will hope you'll go and come on back for that. And next week, we will begin the year in wrestling, our retrospective of the year, and the real decline of audience, of the real momentum that wrestling had at the start of the year. What happened? We're going to chronicle it. We will start that coming up next Wednesday. But first of all, enjoy Survivor Series this weekend. Come back for the post show. And come back for another Wrestling's Real podcast because wrestling needs us.